Good night.
Good night. This weekend we are putting together the second unit of our new IKEA sofas. We bought it a few days ago and now it's time to set it up, and in between I'm keeping up with my usual weekend sourdough baking. Welcome and welcome back. If this is your first time here, my name is Moran. I'm a maker and homebody from Israel, finding ways to stay grounded and creative through these challenging times. I'm editing this vlog, carefully choosing happy, vibrant music to match these moments. I love editing my vlogs, but sometimes watching these scenes feels like looking into the life of someone on another planet, a peaceful place that feels so far away. It's the weekend before bodies of 4 hostages were brought back to Israel. Shiri Bibas, her 2 babies, Kfir and Ariel, and Oded Lifshitz, an 83-year-old man. They're expected to return home in coffins. It's heavy. There is so much pain all around us. I'm trying to find comfort in homemaking moments just to stay sane. As we finish building the sofa, we try it out and look at it from different angles, trying to figure out the best layout for these IKEA sofas in our living room and how they fit our family needs. We'll keep this layout for now, but I'll show you how it turned out later in this vlog. The bread is now out of the oven, and while it cools down and gets ready to go, I'm knitting the second toe on these cheerful scrappy socks. We're having our usual Saturday leftover lunch. Today we have roast beef from yesterday's dinner that Eyal made, so we enjoy it with fresh sourdough bread and other delicious leftovers. have a few fresh organic cabbages in the fridge, so this morning I'm making a new batch of sauerkraut. We love sauerkraut around here and we eat it daily, so I need to keep a new batch in the making to ensure we don't run out. It feels good to keep my hands busy chopping cabbage. It helps me take my mind off the news. And as always, I'm adding 2% salt. So for example, if I have 1 kilo of chopped cabbage in the bowl, I will add 20 grams of salt. This amount lets the good bacteria thrive, which is exactly what we want. I usually clean and organize the kitchen as I cook. It keeps me on top of the things, and honestly, I don't mind cleaning. It helps me clear my mind too. As the chopping boards get some direct sun sanitizing, I start massaging the cabbage. Then I'm heading to my craft room to spend the rest of the day working on a few new yarny projects. And once the cabbage releases enough liquid, I'll pack it into the fermentation pot where it will sit for 3 weeks before it's ready. It's actually a few days after finishing the toe on these crappy socks, and now I'm finally sitting down to finish them using the Kitchener stitch. Luckily, I don't have many yarn ends to weave in because I used the weave and Steven method as I knitted. You can find tutorials for this method on YouTube. It really makes things easier when it comes to dealing with all the yarn ends, especially with scrappy socks that have quite a lot of them. I just make sure they have the right tension and I simply cut them. I knitted these socks on 9-inch circular needle, starting with 64 stitches and a few rounds of knit stitches. Then I switched to a 3x1 rib, 3 knit stitches and 1 purl stitch all the way down. I ended up knitting a very long leg simply because this project was so uplifting. I loved adding more and more colors to the scrappy story, which kept me going. For the heel, I used the slip stitch method and I knitted both heel flap and heel turn on the 9-inch circular. On the foot, I kept the rib pattern on the upper side while the sole was all knit stitches. I usually switch to a long circular needle for the toe, and now they are ready for blocking. But first, I'm taking a picture to add to my making journal. I love how they look, even before blocking. Taking my coffee and heading to my craft room, I want to show you some yarn that arrived in the mail that I ordered especially for you. Many of you are busy making the Chunky Benji crochet pattern. Thank you so much. I keep getting messages from you that it is very hard for you to find the original yarn that I used. I don't know, but maybe it's just discontinued. Anyways, I ordered a few yarns to check out a few options that might work well for this project. So I want to show you everything that I got in this package. I ordered this package from Wool Warehouse. I try to choose items that are widely available and reasonably priced. Everything that I ordered here is from Cascade Yarns. The first one is this ecological wool, which I never tried before. I checked on Ravelry and found out it's a bulky yarn. It comes in 250 grams skeins with 437 meters, which looks pretty close to the original yarn I used in the pattern. It also looks pretty close in color. The next yarn I ordered is the Cascade 220, the non-superwash version. This one is a DK weight yarn, so I guess you will need to hold two strands together to achieve the bulky thickness. It has 200 meters for a 100 gram skein. The pattern calls for 300 meters. So if you want to use this yarn, you will need to hold two strands together. So you will need a total of 3 skeins to complete the Chunky Benji pattern. I hope this makes sense. I ordered 3 colors to check out different combinations while holding 2 strands together. I like the idea of holding 2 different colors to achieve like a melange effect. The last one in this package is the Cascade Heritage, which is a fingering weight sock wool. It has 400 meters per 100 gram skein, and I think you can try and hold 2 strands of this wool with 1 strand of the Cascade 220 DK wool. There are quite a lot of options here. Just remember, the Chunky Benji is a fun project. I encourage you to play and try different yarns. And now I'm rechecking everything on Ravelry just to make sure I have all the correct information and details about these yarns written in my everything notebook. I think I'm going to start crochet a new Chunky Benji using the ecological wool, which looks pretty close in thickness and color. I will check it out and show you the results in real time.
pequenino que eu sei que o amor é cura, amolece a dor Desde pequenino que eu sei que o amor perdura. Basta ter carinho e compreensão. Deixa que o amor invade a porta da tua casa. Deixa que o carinho seja o beijo de uma flor. Deixa que o amor invade a porta da tua casa. Deixa que o carinho seja o beijo de uma flor. Desde pequenino que eu sei que o amor é cura. Amolece a dura ingratidão. Desde pequenino que eu sei que o amor perdura. Basta ter carinho e compreensão. Deixa que o amor invade a porta da tua casa. Deixa que o carinho seja o beijo de uma flor. Deixa que o amor invade a porta da tua casa. Deixa que o carinho seja o beijo de uma flor. Desde pequenino que eu sei que o amor é cura. Amolece a dura ingratidão. Desde pequenino que eu sei que o amor perdura. Basta ter carinho e compreensão. Basta ter carinho e compreensão. Basta ter carinho e compreensão.
And now it's time to start crochet the Chunky Benji pattern with this new yarn. I'm using the same hook size as recommended in the pattern. It's a 4.5 millimeter hook. It feels like this is a good match for this yarn and this pattern. I will link the Chunky Benji pattern down in the description box for you. I really recommend that you keep a beginning of round marker to mark the first stitch on each round. This can be very helpful. The pattern comes with quite a few video tutorials. They also shared for free here on my YouTube channel. And these are 2 rounds made, and so far it looks good. Okay, so now I have a piece big enough to check gauge. The Chunky Benji, as made with the original wool, has 16 stitches per 10 centimeters or 4 inches. So it's about 8 stitches per 5 centimeters or 2 inches. And this piece has 9 stitches per 5 centimeters or 2 inches, which means it's gonna be a little bit smaller Chunky Benji, or smaller than the original. So what I can tell you now is that if you want to achieve the exact same size as my original Chunky Benji, you might need to add 1 strand of the Cascade Heritage fingering sock wool or something similar to work together with this yarn. But for me, for now, I think I'm going to stick with this yarn and see if I like the result. It's 20 to 3 p.m. I'm going to chill out a little bit here on the sofa. I think I took quite a lot of footage for you today. And I also plan to go back to my craft room later this afternoon to make some more work on one of the designs that I'm busy working on for the upcoming retreat with my yak in the Dolomites. next June. So I'm working on 2 new patterns, and I plan to work on one of them this afternoon. I usually have like 1 more or 2 more energy cycles during afternoon and early evening, and hopefully I will get back to my craft room to make some progress. And yeah, I had a lovely lunch with Uri. Uri is now out on his way to Jerusalem, to the National Library, to a very special event that he's going to attend today with young kids like him. And Tomer is on his way home. He will have lunch, and yeah, I think he has also a sport activity this afternoon. But yeah, I hope I will manage to chill out a little bit, maybe watch a YouTube, something lovely on YouTube, and refreshing, and then I'll go back to my craft room. Anyways, thank you so much for joining me on this vlog. I'm very thankful for you. Bye.
Good night.
Good night. It's already Friday morning. We rearrange our new IKEA sofas in the living room and prefer this setup, so hopefully it's final. This morning we woke up to very sad news. Not that we expected any good news. The bodies of the Bibas babies and 83-year-old Oded Lifshitz has been identified. I'm choosing to spend time alone in my craft room, working on my new Chunky Benji project. I feel a monster inside me, wanting to do bad things to these terrorists. All these bad feelings make it hard to breathe. Eyal suggests that we take a walk. Even though it's time for us to start Friday dinner preparations, we choose to go out.